Coconut oil, the good coconut oil. Coconut oil has so many different properties and so many different uses, especially here in Jamaica. We even have the coconut trees. If you know what are some of the uses of coconut oil, go ahead and type them down below in the chats or in the comment section. Great. What I want you to do today is to guess how much coconut oil is in this bottle. All right? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Well, I hope you never say 120 milliliters, because that would have been how much would have been in there when we bought it. But as you can see, some of it is used out, so it have to be less than 120 milliliters. Great. Keep that in mind. I want you to guess now how much you actually paid for it. When you look at it, the tag is kind of like destroyed, so how much you think we kind of paid for it? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I hope you never say $246, because as you can see, taxes supposed to be added to it, so that will make it go up. And I did actually tear off the one that was here, so it was 1,200 and something, right? So the fact is, it is going to be greater than 246. Great. So one last thing I want us to look at today. You know, so the mosquito them up and we need to deal with them like wicked, right? So here we have the vape mosquito coils, and it get rid of the mosquito them good, man, not gonna lie. And it's supposed to have 10 coils in the box, but we did use out some I don't remember how much left in there, but it's supposed to be less than 10 that's in there, because if a 10 come out of the box and use some of them, then it's not going to be 10 that's left. It have to be smaller than 10. Great. And this is nice because we're going to be looking at the topic of inequalities, and here on the package it says lasts up to 8 hours. Here are some general inequality symbols. First, in the left column, we have that in the green, the light green, that's the less than symbol. Words that are associated with this symbol is less than, under, below. Can you come up with some more? Beside that, in the darker green color, is the less than or equal to symbol. Other words that we can use to represent less than or equal to is at most, no more than, and these are highlighted because these are some tricky ones. Beside that, in the bright yellow, we have the greater than symbol, and this is in general. And that symbol represents a quantity being over or above some other quantity, or it's exceeding another quantity. These are some synonyms that we use to represent greater than. And beside it, in a darker looking yellow, we have the greater than or equal to symbol. Other synonyms that we can use to go or to represent this symbol is at least, no less than. Can you come up with some more? And these ones that are highlighted are some tricky ones. As I said before, they are very tricky and we usually use them in the exams. Notice that with the signs that are less than or equal to, or greater than or equal to, there's a little slash or little line under them. Bear that in mind. But these are the 4 general inequality symbols besides the not equal to symbol. All right, let's go. So what I want us to look at is how to translate verbal sentences into inequality. And remember, an inequality is just a statement to say, okay, something is not equal to something else. In other words, something is greater than or equal to something, or something is less than or equal to something. Cool? Good. So let's go. Here it says, for number 1, a number, we don't know what that number is, so I could say, okay, the number, I'm gonna call it x. So a number is less than 3. So I'm comparing x and 3, and the comparison is that x is less than, right? So when we say x is less than, we mean x is smaller than 3. And to show that x is actually smaller than 3, we use an inequality symbol. So when I was in primary school, they always said the alligator mouth is open towards the larger number. So because 3 is going to be larger than x, which is the same thing as saying x is smaller than 3, then the alligator mouth will open towards the 3, right? So notice that the two ends, or the open part of the symbol, is towards the 3. So a number is less than 3 is the same as x is less than 3. You could also read it from the left or from the right rather, meaning starting from the 3. So you could say 3 is greater than x, or you can start reading from the left and say x is less than 3. Either way, you're saying the same thing. So some possible values of x could be 2, because 2 is smaller than 3, could be 1, 0, -1, and so on and so forth. Let's look at number 2. It says a number, we don't know what that number is, so I'm going to underline it and call it x. X is just my favorite number, letter no variable. A number is at least 45. So I'm comparing x and 45. When we say at least, think about what at least could mean. It could mean, okay, it could be 45, or it could be 46. At least the lowest it could possibly go is 45. So that means all the options that I could give should be greater than 45, or actually equal to 45. So x is going to be greater than or equal to 45. Notice that the symbol is open towards the x, which is the greater number. And remember, we said that that number is supposed to be at least the smallest it can go is 45. Like, it can't go below 45. It has to be 45 and above. This is what at least means. So to simplify this, the answer for number 2 would be x is greater than or equal to 45. Or if you're reading it from the right, it's 45 is less than or equal to x. Stay with me. Let's look at number 3. A number is at most 8. So a number that we don't know, we're going to call it x. And we're comparing x with the number 8. And then we have this keyword. The keyword or the key phrase is at most. Think about what that means. At most means that the most it could have ever go, the highest it could have ever go. So the highest x could ever go is 8. That means x could be 7, it could be 6, it could be smaller than 8. So that means 8 should be the greater number. So we're going to turn the symbol, the inequality sign, towards the 8. But it says at most. So that means it could be 8, right? So we're going to drop on this little slit to it to represent that it can be 8 or it can be less than 8. So this is what it means to be less than or equal to 8. So we can read it from the left saying x is less than or equal to 8, or you can read it from the right saying 8 is greater than or equal to x. Not that hard, right? Just think about it logically and it should come to you. And remember that the alligator mouth is open towards the larger number. You will always get it once you see that. Alright, let's look at this one now. A number we don't know, we're going to call it x, is greater than -3. So I'm comparing x and -3, and the comparison is that x is supposed to be greater than, right? So if it's greater than, the symbol will open towards the bigger one, which would have been x. So to clean this up, we're going to say x is greater than -3. And you could think about it. What are some possible values that x could be for number 4? -3. What numbers are bigger than -3? So you could get -2, -1, 5, 10. You know, all those numbers above -3. But notice it cannot be -3 because it must be greater than, right? Let's look at number 5. A number that we don't know, so we're going to call it x is more than 5. So we're comparing x and 5, and the comparison is that x is more than 5. So what are some examples of numbers that are more than 5? 6, 7, 8. Give me one now. Thanks for saying 13. Great. So remember, those numbers are larger than 5, and the symbol will open towards a larger number. So this is where x is going to be greater than 5. So we just clean it up like that. Not difficult, right? Let's do a few more together. Let's look at number 6. The greatest weight, listen to this now, the greatest weight that a forklift can raise is 2,500 pounds. Them want trick we know. So the greatest weight, that means the most it can ever go. It can't pass it, right? And the it is the 2,500 pounds. So me not make them fool me. I write down the information. So we don't know what it is. We just know that it is a weight. So I'm comparing x with this 2,500 pounds. And it says the greatest weight that it can lift is 2,500 pounds. So that means the largest number between x and this 2,500 should be the 2,500. So I'm going to write the symbol towards the 2,500. But wait, it says it can raise 2,500. It said the greatest it can lift is 2,500. So it can lift 2,500. So I need to put on the little equal part. So it can lift 2,500, 1,000, anything smaller than 2,500, including the 2,500 pounds. So that's where this comes from. Let's look at it. It says the greatest weight. Those are some keywords. And then again, we have the 2,500 pounds. So some of these things can come very tricky. That's why if you reason it out, you're good to go. Right? So this is saying the weight, any weight that we decide to choose, must be less than or equal to that 2,500 pounds. Let's look at number 7. The speed limit, a limit, think about what the word limit is. And see there, that's a keyword, limit. Limit means you cannot go or you should not go above. That means that anything below it. So we're comparing the speed limit to the actual given number, the speed of 55 miles per hour. So we don't know what speed limit you're driving at in the Audi, or maybe it's a Lamborghini. So we're going to call it X. And we're comparing that limit to the actual speed limit, which is 55 miles per hour. So it says the limit, which is the most it can go. So the 55 is the most it can go. So we're going to open up that symbol towards the 55. And nothing wrong if you drive at the 55, you know. So you can drive at the 55 miles per hour or below the 55. You see, when you touch 56 now, the police then can come for you. Good. Let's look at number 8. A truck can tow a maximum, look at that keyword. Once you see them, you know, it's like them just jump out at me. A maximum, that means the most it can ever go. So a maximum weight of 7,700 pounds. So we're comparing some weight that we don't know, which is X. We're comparing some weight to 7,700 pounds. Good. And it says the maximum, that means the most it can ever go. So that means the 7,700 would be the limit. So we can carry it to the limit, or we can go below the limit. So it's going to be x is less than or equal to 7,700 pounds. Or you can say the other way. 7,700 pounds is greater than or equal to x. Let's look at number 9. You must be at least, oh my god, these keywords are jumping. At least. Notice that I'm highlighting them. So at least means the lowest it can ever go. So you must be at least 48 inches tall to ride the roller coaster. Because it makes sense, if you're shorter than that, something can happen to you. So you can't go below it. So the most or the lowest you could ever go, my bad, the lowest you could ever go is 48. And we're comparing that to the height that we don't know. Because maybe you are 60 inches tall, or maybe we don't know. So we're using x to represent the height. So the lowest it can ever go, the height should ever be to go on a roller coaster, is that 48 inches. That means if you're 49 inches, then you can always go on the ride. If you are 50 or 70, you can always go on the ride. So it should be at least, that means the lowest it can go. So if this is the lowest, then this must be the greater number. So I can open up now. I can open the symbol towards the x, because the lowest it can go is 48. So this x must be greater than a 48. So it can be 48 as well. So I need to put that little line underneath it. So this is saying that x is greater than or equal to 48 inches. And it makes sense, because 50 is great. If you're 50, then you can go on a ride. But if you're less than that, or less than the 48, then you cannot go. Let's do this last one. You can save up to $50 on DVD players this week. Alright, that one I kind of tricky. You can save up to, okay? Save up to. And when you think about it, it was the same one on the mosquito vape package. You can save up to $50. That means, say, okay, we're comparing savings, which is x, and this $50. The fact that you can get the $50 means it must have on the equal sign or half of the equal sign on it. But could you save up to $100 on this DVD purchase? No, it have to be smaller than 50, because it says you can save up to. So the limit is 50. Anything above is a no-no. So you have to have the symbol that says, okay, 50 is the highest, because it says you can go up to 50. So 50 is supposed to be bigger than this x. So I'm going to turn the symbol open towards the 50, because it's a bigger number or the bigger value. And then you can actually get 50, right? So then you go put it like that. Hopefully this makes it a lot easier for you. All right, but what you can do is to just think about, underline the keywords, think about what you're comparing, write them down, and tell me, or ask yourself which one is bigger, and turn the symbol open towards the bigger value.